I refused to attend my dad's wedding after he refused to come to my graduation. 23F, graduating from university this year, and it's been a tough journey. Halfway through my studies, I lost the ability to have children due to a medical condition, and there were moments when I wasn't sure I would even make it to graduation. My dad has always been supportive of my education, but not much else. When it came to my medical treatment, he was incredibly negative. He constantly told me to woman up, and that going through with the treatment was selfish since it would affect my ovaries. Despite this, he did help me push through my final year of university, and now we're trying to decide on a date for my graduation. Some background. My dad started dating my stepmother, who's 55, and she has a daughter, 24, who both despise me, and my older brother, 24M. They would constantly bully us, calling us stupid and saying we had no direction in life, but always behind my dad's back. The bullying got so bad that my brother eventually left with nothing and decided to start over. I, on the other hand, stayed quiet and moved away for university, where I finally felt safe and comfortable. My stepmother would always boast about how her daughter was some kind of genius with a plan to conquer life. The irony? Her daughter dropped out of university, had a child, and now lives off my stepmother's income as a single mother with no effort to make any changes or follow through on that plan. People began to see through it, and now, out of nowhere, I'm suddenly the #1 child. My brother and I both went through severe abuse from our biological mother, which left us with a lot of emotional scars and trust issues and set us back academically. My brother managed to graduate 2 years ago and is now a qualified electrician. Knowing the hardships we shared, I asked him if he'd like to come to my graduation, which is where the real issue started. My dad is now refusing to attend my graduation because I didn't invite my stepmother, who he claims has been there for me since day one. We had a massive argument about how ungrateful I am for all the support she's given me. He said that if I'm going to be selfish and act like this, I can go to my graduation alone. In response, I told him I wouldn't attend his wedding if this is how things are going to be. Now, we're not speaking, and my stepmother is literally shoving me out of the way whenever I'm near the family, refusing to talk to me as well. My older brother is advising me to just wait it out and let dad cool off, but at this point, I'm pretty set on not attending the wedding. The wedding is 4 months before graduation. First update. Currently looking for emergency accommodation after the stepmother upped her game and started putting on the pressure more. No longer than 2 nights ago, I was making a sandwich in the kitchen, and my father and stepmother pushed me out of the way so they could put their bike helmets on the chopping board of all places. Anyway, I asked if we had any mayonnaise in, and my stepmother replied, "Stepmother, no, check yourself." Me, okay. She then glared at my father, and for whatever reason he completely lost it, and said the following statements. "You are such a victim. Your whole life you have been a victim, just like your mother. All you cause around here is pain. Get the F out. I hate you. You are the most unwanted person in this household right now. Why are you here? F off." He was stating all these comments while pointing and screaming in my face, my stepmother smirking in the background. I did have some absolutely nasty comments to say in my head, but I kept quiet and replied, "I'm not speaking to you while you have your voice raised." At which point my stepmother then got up in my face and said, "Ungrateful BH, don't speak to your father like that." To whom I simply replied, "Sorry. Who are you to think you can tell me what I can and cannot do?" To which my father launched himself at me. I'm unsure how far he was planning on going. My stepmother grabbed him and said, "Come on, babe. We need a break from this toxic piece of work." After they left, I started uncontrollably crying, and I rang my brother in complete panic, begging him for advice on what to do. He drove to me as fast as he could and picked me and my pets up. He asked for me to find a friend to stay with tonight for my own safety. He then explains to me the reason why he left back in 2018. This exact thing with the stepmother, starting an argument and looking at my father for backup. My brother explained if I went back tonight, he'd be worried the police may end up involved. This part comes with a trigger warning. As I stated in the original post, my father has helped me through a lot in the past. When my mother was abusing myself and my older brother, he did his best to protect us. He helped me through short-term psychosis when I was 14 and was there for the recovery. Last night, I felt like my safety net. The only parent I had left, the man I looked up to, was no longer there. I unfortunately got so emotionally distraught from everything that's happened since this upcoming wedding. I did go outside with a note and had intentions of no return. I will not go into details, but I will say I'm extremely lucky a police officer spotted something off about me and came to my aid before it was too late. Before this happened, I walked out of the house and to the end of my street. I was scared and in complete tears, to which then I spotted my stepmother and father walking up the street, coming towards the house. My father sees me and looks away in disgust, and my stepmother grabs her grandchild and screams across the street, "I love my family," then looks me dead in the eyes and smiles. This was the final hit for me, and why I'm so grateful there was an observant police officer to save my life. So as of right now, I do have an appointment to seek help on what happened above and me getting to that point. I'm utterly devastated and heartbroken that I'm having to walk away from the one last thing I felt safe in. It's extremely hard, and I will admit I am the biggest mess I've ever seen myself. While waiting for emergency accommodation, I confided into my room. I'm scared to make a noise. I'm sneaking around to use the bathroom and kitchen as I do not want another argument to spout out. Yes, obviously the wedding is a write-off for me. I didn't ever think a wedding would cause this much pain. Second update. The wedding. I didn't go to any of the dress fittings or events leading up to the wedding. I spent most of my time searching for future plans and a way to stabilize my life because this has been an absolute roller coaster I didn't need. We get to one day, 24 hours before the wedding, and my dad, on his own, knocks on my door. I'm really sorry about everything that's happened with the wedding and the pain it may have caused you, but I can't miss having my only daughter at my wedding. My childhood taught me not to hold grudges with people. It taught me to lower your expectations of people to avoid being hurt. Not entirely sure if that's a healthy outlook on life, but it has saved me a few times. I explained to my dad about the previous comments that he was made towards me, the medical comments all the way up to the F-off comments from my first post. He holds out the most unflattering dress I've ever seen and continues. Your stepmother chose this for you. I know she's not considered your body's shape or anything with this dress, but it's all we have. I can see some of the malicious things she's done towards you and your older brother. To explain to you the dress, I'm a size UK 8, 5 feet 3 inches with an hourglass figure. The dress on me made me look like a rectangle. It was restraining on the butt area, and I had to hold up the top half of the dress constantly. The dress was a cappuccino color and dragged across the floor, and I kept tripping up in it just trying to show my dad how it looked. My dad was mortified with my stepmother's choice and said, "Let's give it a touch." By that, I think he meant adding my goth aesthetic to the dress. I was able to lift myself up with chunky Doc Martens and not the 3-pound heels she had found for me at a charity shop, which were the wrong size, and she knows I've never worn heels in my life. I explained to my dad that I'm still firm that I'm not going due to the wholly original reason this wedding turned into a hateful mess. He then explained to me that he was hurt that I've been making sure I was excluding my stepmother from my graduation. Hold on, with the actual fuck? I never even thought by asking my brother to come that brought out that I was being malicious. I explained to my dad the reasoning of wanting my brother there, and it wasn't some backhanded way of telling my stepmother she can't come. You can literally purchase extra tickets if she has bothered to even look into it. I tell my dad, where the hell did he get this assumption? Yeah, you guys probably guessed it. The bride-to-be herself. This all happened 24 hours before the wedding. At this point, me and my dad have now hashed out an agreement that I'll go to the wedding, but can leave if I feel uncomfortable at any time. The wedding day, I get a text message from my brother wishing me good luck with Bachizala, as he will be only attending the wedding and not the events prior. The breakfast. Me, my dad, bride-to-be, stepsister, and her daughter, F5. We will call the daughter Lily for less confusion. Bride-to-be had a photographer taking pictures of us eating breakfast. Not sure if that's something I'd agree with. I don't want people to have a photo of me seagull swallowing eggs. The breakfast was mostly silent. Besides, my dad kept nudging me, making sure I was okay. Meanwhile, Lily started having a meltdown, angry that she wasn't the center of attention, and started throwing forks at the bride. I decided to get up and walk outside, as this was just anxiety-inducing. My dad thanked me for staying with us, and we continued with the day. Hair and makeup me, bride stepsister, and Lily. The hair was an absolute nightmare and embarrassing. Bride was refusing to speak to me whatsoever, to the point she asked me to have my hair done in the separate area of the salon while stepsister and Lily got to stay with her. I didn't know if there was a code for the dresses or whatnot. I was so confused. When asked by the stylist, I asked, "I didn't know you're going to have to ask the bride what I'm meant to have done." She goes off and returns with stepsister. Stepsister looks at me and says, "Just do some curls. We don't care, to be honest." She stays for a few minutes, and the stylist tries to have some small talk with me, asking if I had anything else planned, and I try to talk about the upcoming UK festival I was planning to go to after the wedding, which was an absolute mud bath if anyone was wondering, before I could finish my sentence. Stepsister laughs and speaks over me. Yeah, she's into all that emo scream stuff. The stylist. "Aw, is she that so sweet?" Me. Just like what the actual F. I got a phone call when they were drowning me in hairspray, and it was my dad. He had a last-minute panic. My brother and his girlfriend had now dropped out of meeting and greeting the guests and begged me to do it. I've never heard my dad sound so stressed in my life, so I decided to agree. After all, it would save me having to spend more time with these guys. The makeup was done by the stepsister's friend. We drove to stepsister's house. The absolute anxiety when she pulled out mucky-looking palettes from her car and brushes that could start a sandstorm if flicked. I don't really wear a lot of makeup or wouldn't even be able to tell you more than what is an eyeshadow and foundation. Again, stepsister just said fix her, and I was absolutely blasted with the entire shop floor of makeup. I felt so uncomfortable and embarrassed about how much they had sculpted my face. The lashes were so long, I couldn't put my glasses back on. The photographer was there. She is taking pictures of the makeup being done. This is a key moment. Bride pulled out gifts for the three of us. To my beautiful daughter, thank you so much for being in my life. Hugs, kisses, photos. To my beautiful granddaughter, thank you so much for being in my life. Hugs, kisses, photos. Thanks for coming, throws a gift at me with disgust. Yep, that happened. When we got the wedding photos back, the absolute bombshell that caused. I'll get to that in a moment. My dad then drove up to the house and picked me up. Here's where things get fun. The wedding part one, me, my dad, the wedding party. The weather was wet and storming to add to the drama. Dad was in panic beyond words that my brother had dropped out from greeting the guests. I was given 5 minutes to get ready. I throw on the dress I literally have hold up and put on the boots. My dad gave me a huge hug and gave me instructions on what to do. Please keep in mind I'm the most introverted person these people know, so this was a big ask. I arrived at the venue and started greeting people. Everyone was stunned to see me. There was a weird rift of, "That's not her? Oh my God, it is her." In the room, I had the entire party, both on the bride's side and groom's side, tell me what a glow it was to see me in a dress, and that I looked stunning. I don't normally wear dresses. This was the first for a lot of them. I did the instructions that my dad gave me, which were to pour drinks, make sure everyone's comfortable, etc. My brother then arrives and mingles for around 10 to 15 minutes before coming to me and stating everyone is talking about how well you look. Bride is not going to be happy. I shrug it off and continue to make sure everyone's happy. My dad then turns up, and the wedding is about to begin. Wedding part 2. Everyone. My dad hugs me and thanks me again and again for how grateful he is. My brother isn't too happy as he thinks I've not stood my ground. The wedding goes off pretty well, and I'm also happy because I was mostly on bartending duty as orders of the bride. This is another key moment. The wedding was talked about for about a week straight after the event, and again, people kept asking about how I managed to make such a show. No idea how I did that in a rectangle dress, but here we are. The photos were then sent to my dad and stepmother. The arguments they caused. I'm unsure if the photographer did this on purpose, but she and her husband caught every time stepmother, the bride, was horrible to me. The breakfast, the gifts, me being in a separate area in the salon, everything. Then there's only one photo of me and my dad, because, as you all know, I was busy bartending free of charge to their guests. I was asked to leave the room, and a huge, major argument shot out. The next day, a brand new motorcycle was wheeled into the drive as a graduation, sorry present. My dad explained how sorry he was for never seeing this, and is now coming to my graduation with absolutely no issue if the bride joins him or not. Since then, he's been on this sorry train trying to make up for what's happened. Even on my birthday, he isolated both of us, and we spent the day doing things I love. Poor guy had to learn to rock climb with me. As of right now, stepmother bride is avoiding me and avoiding trying to hurt me after the wedding. My brother is upset with me because he feels I took the motorcycle as a bribe for my father's poor behavior. I do accept his point of view, and the way my father treated me was unacceptable. But this wedding was a blessing in disguise. It showed my dad how cruel the woman is to his children. Mini update. After reading the comments on the previous update, I decided to go to my brother and show him the threads and posts. We both just want to make some things clear. We are both on talking terms. My brother is happy I went to the wedding because it shined a light on the bride being toxic, and in his opinion, outside people are now looking in, especially after the wedding photos and how I had to handle the jobs. He also states that he didn't expect me to walk away there, and then, as there are 24 years of hooks in me to keep me staying under my dad's control. It's going to take some setbacks to come out of this as strong as possible. I've agreed with him to seek help to try and grow a backbone to be able to set and keep boundaries and start to peel away from him for good. And I just wanted to apologize to everyone who's been following this post for how clueless I was on the bribe. I keep holding on to a memory of a father who clearly isn't there anymore. And this is the wake-up call I needed to get up and move on. Thank you all for your advice and support throughout this roller coaster. I'm sorry that I let a lot of people down by backing on my words. I'm ready to now make a change. Thank you.